that Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam has descended. In the hadith of Nawas bin Saman radiyallahu ta'ala an, which can be found in Sahih Muslim, it is narrated, فينزل عند المنارة البيضاء شرقية دمشق في مفرودتين واضعا كفيه على أجنحة ملكين إذا طأطأ رأسه انقطر وإذا رفعه تحدر منه جمان كاللؤلؤ. That Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam will descend to the white minaret in the east of Damascus. He will be wearing two garments slightly dyed with saffron. His hand will be placed on the wings of two angels, and Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam will descend. In the hadith narrated by Imam al-Bukhari, narrated by Ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala an, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has described Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said, فَأَمَّا عِيسَى فَأَحْمَرْ جَعْدٌ عَرِيدُ الصَّدْرِ. فَأَحْمَرْ, he will be reddish white in complexion. His hair will be soft, and they will reach his ears. عَرِيدُ الصَّدْرِ, Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam will be well built. He will descend. His hands will be placed on the wings of two angels, and he will descend. إِذَا طَأْطَى رَأْسَهُ انقطر وَإِذَا رَفَعُوا تَحَدَّرَ مِنْهُ جُمَالٌ كَاللُّؤْلُؤِ. When he lowers his head, beads of perspiration will flow. And when he raises his head, beads like pearls will scatter. لَا يَحِلُّ لِكَافِرٍ يَجِدُ رِيحَ نَفَسِهِ إِلَّا مَاتٍ وَنَفَسُهُ يَنْتَهِي حَيْثُ يَنْتَهِي تَرْفُهُ. Every kafir who smells his fragrance will die as soon as he smells his fragrance. And his breath will reach as far as his eye can see. In the hadith of Abu Umama al-Bahili, which can be found in Ibn Majah, it is narrated that Sharik radiallahu ta'ala anha asked, Ya Rasulullah, فَأَيْنَ الْأَرَبْ يَوْمَئِذٍ? O Messenger of Allah, where will the Arabs be at the time? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam replied, هُمْ قَلِيلٌ وَجُلُّهُمْ بِبَيْتِ الْمَقْدِسِ. That the Arabs at the time when the Dajjal causes all this fitna will be very less, and the majority of them will be in Bayt al-Maqdis. وَإِمَامُهُمْ رَجُلٌ صَالِحٌ قَدْ تَقَدَّمْ يُصَلِّي بِحِمُ الصُّبْحِ إِذْ نَزَلَ عَلَيْهِمْ عِيسَى بْنُ مَرْيَمَ. The Imam at the time will be a very pious man. And we conclude in a lot of many other ahadith that this Imam will be Imam Mahdi. The Imam will be a very pious man, and he will be on the verge of leading them in the morning prayer when Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam will descend. فرجع ذلك الإمام ينكص يمشي القهقرة ليتقدم عيسى يصلي بالناس. When the Imam sees Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, he will take a few steps backwards from the Musalla, so Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam can come forward and lead the believers in prayer. ويدأ يده على كتفه. Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam will place his hands on the Imam's shoulder, and he will say to him, تقدم فصلي فإنها لك أقيمت. That go forward and lead the prayers as the iqamah of the prayer was said for you. ويصلي بهم إمامهم. The Imam will lead them in the prayer. فإذا انصرف, when the prayers are over, Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam will say, افتحوا الباب, open the door. فيفتح ووراءه الدجال معه 70,000 يهودي كلهم ذو سيف محلى وصاد. Behind the door there will be sent, the Dajjal will be waiting. He will have 70,000 Jews with him, all armed with swords. فإذا نظر إليه الدجال ذاب كما يذوب الملح في الماء. When the Dajjal sees Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam amongst the believers, he will begin to melt like salt in water. وَيَنْطَلِقُ حَارِبًا. The Dajjal will begin to run. Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam will chase the Dajjal, and he will say to him, كَإِنَّ لِي فِيكَ دَرْبًا لَنْ تَصْبِكَنِي بِهَا. That it is written that I, Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, will kill you. Today you cannot run away from me. Today you cannot escape me. Today I, Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, will kill you. Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam will chase him. فَيُدْرِكَهُ إِنْدَ الْبَابِ اللُّدْءَ الشَّرْقِي فَيَقْتُلَهُ. Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam will chase him, and he will grab hold of him at a place called Bab al-Lud, and Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam will kill him. فَيَحْزِمُ اللَّهُ الْيَهُودَ, and Allah will defeat the Jews. The Muslims on that day will fight with the Jews. The hadith states, لا يبقى شيء مما خلق الله يتوارى به يهودي إلا أنتك الله ذلك الشيء لا حجر ولا شجر ولا حائط ولا دابة إلا الغرقدة فإنها من شجرهم لا تنطق إلا قال يا عبد الله المسلم هذا يهودي فتعال فاقتل. On that day, the Jews will fight the Muslims and the Jews will flee. The Jews will begin to hide. They will hide behind stones on that day. They will hide behind trees on that day. They will hide behind walls on that day. They will hide behind animals on that day. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on that day will make the stone speak, and the stone will say, Ya Abdullah al-Muslim, هَذَا يَهُودِيٌّ فَتَعَالَ فَقْتُلْ. O servant of Allah, O Abdullah, there is a Jew hiding behind me. Come and kill this Jew. On that day, the stones will speak. On that day, the trees will speak. On that day, the animals will speak. On that day, everything except for the gharqada, as this is the tree of the Jews, everything will speak on that day, and it will say, Ya Abdullah al-Muslim, هَذَا يَهُودِيٌّ فَتَعَالَ فَقْتُلْ. O servant of Allah, come, there's a Jew hiding behind me, and come and kill this Jew. The Muslims on that day will defeat the Jews, and the Muslims will win the Jews. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will get rid of the fitna of the Dajjal on the hands of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. And the Muslims will defeat the Jews. Now one question that arises here is, what is the hikmah in the descent of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam and no other prophet? Why is it that before the end of time, Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam will return to the world for a second time and no other prophet? The ulama have given many different reasons as to why Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam will descend before the end of time and no other prophet. The great master of hadith, Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, Hafiz Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, states that Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam will descend before the end of time because the Jews claimed that they had killed Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam before the end of time to prove to the Jews that they had been lying and they did not kill Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, and he has been alive all this time, and it is he who will kill the leader, the Dajjal. Some ulama have written that Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam found in the Bible many virtues of the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. When he saw these virtues of the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allahumma ja'alna minhum, O Allah, make me from the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answered his prayer, answered the prayer of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. Thus Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam is to return, and he will be an ummati, a follower of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Some scholars have stated, is لَيْسَ لِمَخْلُوقٍ مِنَ التُّرَابِ أَنْ يَمُوتَ فِي غَيْرِهَا. Some ulama have stated that Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam will return for the second time, because it is not permissible for anything that has been created from earth to be buried anywhere besides dunya. This is why Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam will return to the world. He will live for a period of time. He will die a physical death so that he can be buried in dunya. This is why he will return. The scholars and the ulama have given many different reasons besides those that have been mentioned as to why and Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam will descend before the end of time and return, and no other prophet. The most strongest opinion is the opinion of the great master of hadith, Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani. Now, a short period after Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam has killed the Dajjal, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will release the two tribes of Ya'juj and Ma'juj, Gog and Magog, which have been imprisoned by Zulkarnain behind the iron gate he built. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reveal to Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, كأني قد أخرجت عبادا لي لا يدان لأحد بقتالهم فحرج عبادي إلى الطور. That I am taking up servants of mine which nobody has the power to fight with. So take the believers for their protection to Mount Tur. وَيَبْعَثُ اللَّهُ يَعْجُوجُ وَمَعْجُوجُ وَهُمْ مِنْ كُلِّ حَدَبٍ يَنْسِلُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send the Ya'juj and Ma'juj, and the Ya'juj and Ma'juj will come forth from every lofty place, causing fitna and devastation and destruction and havoc and chaos wherever they go. ويمر أوائلهم على بحيرة برية فيشربون ما فيها ويمر آخرهم فيقول لقد كان بهذه مرة ما. The first batch will pass by Lake of Tiberias and they will drink every drop of water from this lake. Not a single drop of water will remain in this lake. When the last batch passes,